Okay, one wax and de-screwer. Easy for me to say. I am so hot and dehydrated. You think that's water on the floor, that's actually all my sweat. It's actually not, but man, it feels like it.
That's a paint job, woo!
Hey guys, what is up? It's Biff, and you are back for another episode on the Fearless Mods Garage, where we're working on the 2019 Kia Stinger GTS. And in this episode, we're gonna take this thing from looking like this and make it look beautiful like this. Now we gotta do just a whole lot more prep work, and it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. But at the end of this episode, we're gonna have an orange car. So let's go ahead and start snapping some pieces in here and then putting this thing together so that we can start prepping for the next paint stage, which is the exterior of all the new parts. The back end trim is all back up here. The headliner's back up so I can stop sticking my hand in all that black goo and tracking it all over the car. But now let's go ahead and get onto that fender, and then we'll be ready to move on to the door. Now we just got to adjust the hood a little bit. The fender went on nicely. The lines are parallel between the two as much as they can be with the curve. But the hood is a little tight up front and loose in the back, and over here it's tight in the back and loose in the front. So we just need to take this hood and pivot it like this just a little bit. Okay, hood is on and the gaps are looking good. Once we get our bumpers in there, our bump stops in there, everything will line up nicely. So this is coming along sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a door and go ahead and put those back on. Okay, the doors do not go on the fronts, at least with the fenders on. So now that we got this all adjusted, we'll go ahead and take it off. The good thing is the hood pretty much stays where it is, and the fenders will be easy to get right back where we had them. So I'll pull the fenders off, continue putting on the front doors, and then slap the fenders back on. All right, it's coming together, and I'm just too excited. I gotta get this bumper on and see what that's gonna look like. I still got one more door to put on, but I just gotta show you how this is shaping up. It's looking pretty fine. Pretty fine. Here's where all our damage was, and we're looking like a car. This is amazing. All right, for the life of me, I can't find the 4 bolts for that final door to put it on. So screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and just start getting to sanding the parts that I can sand, and I'll just have to wet sand that door after I can pick up some new bolts for it at Kia. Mind-boggling. I have looked everywhere in the shop and in the car, the surrounding area. Even went home and looked in my old dirty shorts pockets to see if I'd left them in there. I can't find them. So anyway, let's get to sanding. The reason I'm doing this is because when I sprayed the back sides of them, I didn't cover the other side, and so the overspray of the orange and the clear coat got around there, sometimes pretty thick around the edges. So I'm smoothing it all out. Getting it with the 320, I'll hit it with the 600 to smooth it out with a wet sand before we go to paint. Got a couple of brackets here that we got to get off of the old bumper cover. I've already drilled out the rivets on a couple of them. I've got a couple new ones on the side that was destroyed, even though one of them is still intact. Got 2 new plastic brackets there. These are not only riveted in, but they also have a couple of heat spot welds. I'm going to heat up the backside here, so because I don't care about this old bumper, but I don't want to screw up this bracket. So I'm going to heat it back here and then try to get a putty knife in here to pry it away. Okay, that one popped off pretty easy. Let's get the other weld. So we popped them loose, brackets off. Now we can just smooth this off and use it on the new bumper. And what I'm probably going to do is just, because I don't want to put heat on here and I don't have the right tool, is I'm probably just going to epoxy them to the back of the bumper. We've got the bumper sensors and then and the good air ducting for the brakes on this front right side. So we'll go ahead and pull the 4 sensors off, this brake ducting, and while I'm at it, why not just go ahead and pull off this other bracket. Okay, as I'm starting to peel this one off, I see that it is cracked, so I'm just going to leave it on there, and we already got a new one, so we're good to go. That's done. This thing is now trash. Okay, next thing we're going to do is I ordered some new bolts for this since I can't seem to find them. So I stole a couple from the other side. We're going to go ahead and get this door mounted up so we can seal this off. This door does get the fade, so it will get a wet sand of the clear coat. So I need it on here. And then I'll probably pull a little bit of the inner gasketing and at least the latch for this door so that we can get it to latch up and be nice and smooth and flush with this. Okay, so what's going on here is I've got the door panel off, I've got all the bolts out, and this baby's still hanging on. The window tracks are massively riveted into this thing. There's no disconnecting this inner panel from that to give you access. So there are a couple of rubber plugs here that I've pulled off here and here, and I think the point of those is, because they're in line with the rails, I think the point is bring the window down, unbolt the window probably through these holes, remove the window, and then you can remove this panel with the tracks. Unfortunately, the window's up and everything's disconnected, so I've removed the motor, and I'm going to see if I can perhaps get this baby to rotate and roll down. There we go. There we go. We're going to unbolt the window here and then see if we can remove the glass and pull this out. Okay, I finally figured out how to get this door lock out. And I just used a little bit of a pry tool here. After I loosened up this 10mm bolt in the end, and you raise the handle slightly because it has a tab that keeps it from clearing. It's a matter of just getting the locking rod to snap out down in the bottom, and mine was in there good. But it popped out, so here we go. Now all I got to do is lift this up and pull it backwards, and out it comes. Disconnect my wires, and I should now hopefully be able to remove the inner door panel. There we go, inner door panel removed. One good carbon fiber mirror removed. And that completes our door teardown. Once again, we have another piece of scrap metal. Okay, so we've already got this door on here, and it would require removing the fender to take it off. I will do that for the complete install. At least partially, we're going to put some locking mechanism in there. Four doors on, all latching. We've got a little bit of alignment stuff to do, but we are really close here to being ready to paint. We are to the sanding phase, so first thing I'm going to do is I put some body filler in the pre-dimpled holes here in the bumper for the license plate. So I'm going to go ahead and send those down, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to sweep up in here to get all the dry dust, and then we'll go ahead and tape up and start wet sanding. Okay, one more spot of body filler. We'll let that dry, get started wet sanding. Okay, only 3 more panels left to wet sand. 1, 2, and 3. All right, man, we are wet sanded. So now I'm just letting it dry so I can see if I missed any spots. And then we are ready to go ahead and start prepping the paint booth again. Should be easy this time. We just pull the screens, plastic screens out, and set up the air filtration and outflow, tape up the car, and start mixing paint. Taping is done. I got to put the plastic over it, and I still need to scuff the bumper. This obviously always takes forever, and I'm moving along. I'm making good progress, but I got a ways to go. All right, bumper scuff went quick. So now what I'm going to do is just take a little wax and grease remover and go over it once, then go ahead and lay the plastic on it and start taping it up. One wax and grease remover complete. Now I'm ready to go ahead and pull the sheeting over it. Go ahead and start getting that all taped off and closed down. Then we'll do a second wax and grease remove before we tack cloth right before painting. It is bagged and tagged and ready to rock and roll. So I am going to go ahead and shoot some self-etching primer on the bare metal spots that I have here from the sanding. We have this, everything bagged off. This front fender is going to get blended. The hood's getting fully painted and sealed. So is this fender, so is this door, and the door, outer door jamb or frame. And then this door is getting blended. Everything else is covered up and bagged. And then of course we've got our bumper right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull these so I can start decreasing the amount of dust and stuff flying around. Keep the air conditioner on in here to try to cool that section down just a little bit and keep the humidity a little bit lower. And then I'm going to get back and we're going to start painting. Okay, here we go with the second round of wax and grease remover, making sure I don't let my sweaty arms touch the car anywhere. Primer tack cloth. Now we're going to go ahead with first the self-etching primer and then the adhesion promoter on the bumper. All right, primer is on, adhesion promoter is on. Now it's time to start mixing up the sealer and covering up the gray parts. All right, got a full tank of sealer, so here we go. There's always got to be some harebrained screw up on my part. And I forgot to tape that flap down on that window, so therefore I got a little bit of overspray of the sealer on the glass and on the black piece of trim that goes there. So I'll have to try to clean that off later. Obviously the glass is easy, I'll just scrape it with a razor blade, but that piece of plastic might be a little bit of fun removing that paint without damaging it. But oh well, at least it's not on the orange. I said at least one screw up. Second screw up is I didn't get the back side of the hood covered up good enough, so a little bit of that overspray of the sealer will also be on the back side of the under part of the hood. Shouldn't see it much, but I went ahead and covered it up so I don't keep shooting stuff under there. Okay, moment of truth. We're ready with the orange. It's mixed. The sealer has had time to flash, so here we go. And again, we're going to put 4 coats everywhere, door, hood, and fender, and then 4, 3, 2, and 1 progressively on the door and the fender over there. The bumper will get the full 4 coats, so it should match perfectly. So let's get to painting some orange. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why. I've done it before. Let's just do it. One coat down and she's beautiful. On our way to an orange car. All right guys, here goes number 2 of the orange. Okay, coat number 3 of 4 getting ready to go on. All right guys, this is the last coat of orange. Furthest fade, final coat, full coverage, and then we'll start mixing up some clear and going with it. All right, that's 4 coats. Time to switch over to the clear. All right, man, we're slicking it in for reals this time. What a success. It feels so good to finally have this thing orange and slicked in. It looks good. I don't see a whole lot of problems with it. There will be dust in it. There will probably be a bug in it when I get here in the morning. There will probably be an area or two where I misted it a little bit too much, but I got to tell you, huge improvement over the paint job I did on the blue car. That I can assure you. I do have some cleanup and stuff to do once I untape it, as I told you about. But wow, I am super happy about this. I got just enough orange paint left for the side skirt once I do the last little repair to it, in case I want to blend it if it starts to bubble the paint or anything when I apply heat. So I got a little bit of that. I got enough clear coat to do that as well, so the amount was perfect. So yeah, super happy. I'm just going to clean up now and then I'll take you on a quick walk around of the car. Okay, everything is cleaned up in here, and I can't take the mask off because it is still quite toxic in here. My exhaust fan that I have set up over here in the corner that blows out through a hole in this contraption I have in the garage door overloaded. You can see it was working. It was sucking the orange mist out, but it overloaded and it's old, and it had blue paint on it before and orange paint on it now, and it's dead. But so I turned on the overhead fan up there in the top that draws from up there to try to get some of the mist out of here. It was very foggy in here after the clear coat. We're looking pretty good. The bumper, let me check it. I haven't looked at it closely after I put on its second clear coat. Looks friggin' amazing. No runs, nothing. That is just absolutely slicked in and gorgeous. The rear door looks pretty good. It has one run right there that can easily be sanded out. Everything else looks pretty good, nice and slick. Front door, fender, no runs. Everything looks good. The hood looks fantastic. The right fender also has one small run on it, I do believe. Yeah, right there. And so again, can easily be sanded and buffed out. But it's funny that the runs only occurred where I was clear coating over the pre-existing paint. But I think my fades and blends look good. I don't know where I'm at on episodes. I'm running behind. I've got so much content that I got to get out there. And I know you guys are curious what has been occurring with this car, but it's getting close to being done. It looks fantastic. It's going to be fun peeling off all this tape. I'm about to pass out from these fumes, so. I swear, this thing like doesn't have any dust in it or anything. Okay guys, it is the next day and the reveal of the paint job, and that looks absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, what a great job this was for my second time painting, and in the garage no less. But very little dust, a real nice factory looking orange peel, and no bugs. visited us last night. So that's awesome. The blend is, there are a couple here where I probably could have blended better onto this from, I blended onto the fender and that looks great, but I'm seeing a little bit of a color difference here between the fender and the A-pillar and the fender and the door. And I tried to blend onto this and make it where it would be okay over here. Not so sure about that, but I'm not interested right now in tackling a better blend on this side. On this side, the blend turned out really well into that back door, and that's the only spot over here. We've got a little bit of a run right here in the clear coat. I did adjust my procedures on the clear coat after doing the door jams and having those run issues. I believe there was one over here on this fender as well, just a little bit. But overall, what an amazing paint job. Those can easily be wet sanded and buffed out. I'm going to have to do a little bit of buffing right here to clean up some of this overspray. This is that area where I forgot to tape it down. I'll see if I can clean this off. This I can obviously clean off, but I'll see if I can clean this off. If I can't, I may have to reshoot it black, but that's okay because I got to do some black shots in a couple areas for some trim. The Stinger is looking absolutely fantastic. I'm ready to keep going and get this thing on the road real soon. That is going to be a wrap. Ton of work done. Super extremely long week. Hot late nights. But we have finally made this huge amount of progress to get this thing looking back to normal again. Next will be door assembly. Again, working on some of the carbon fiber and then painting some of the black trim to continue the final assembly of the bumper and such. But we're right there. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching. Please go down there below and click the like and subscribe. Come back, keep tabs on how we're doing on this thing once we get it on the road. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you again real soon. Take care.